It's a great team we beat.
A couple of different times, Chris Kleiman, after that Pop-Tarts Bowl win, referenced the things we've been through over the past few weeks. In his words, it's been a heck of a ride for K-State, but it culminates in a big win in the Pop-Tarts Bowl over a North Carolina State team that was going through a lot of the same type of stuff, I think. Hard-fought game, two hard-nosed coaches, and a freshman quarterback we all wanted to see steps up and wins the MVP. To talk about that and much more, our good friend Stan Weber. Good morning, Stan. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning, Nate.
Where are you right now?
I am at a place that says there's a big exhibit that costs a lot of money to go visit, a cutout and voiceover by Nate Bukaty, and it says, Nate Bukaty lives here as much as he lives in Kansas. So I'm about ready to go visit over there in Orlando, Florida. So I am here with the K-State team who did not sleep very much last night because there's so much concentration getting ready for a bowl game. The people that get to go to the bowl game and don't have to play or coach have a blast the whole week. The players get a little bit of fun and gifts and those kind of things, but the coaches don't get any time to relax as they're trying to get together and put this team back on course after a long delay. It's not like the NFL going into the playoffs. It's a big delay. Like, how are you going to get your team ready? What are you going to do? How hard should you work them? And all those kind of things, learning about a new opponent. K-State's never played North Carolina State in their history. But after the bowl game's over, no one wants to go to bed. So, you see the athletic director, you see the whole staff, you see the football coaches, all their friends, family, players, everybody out in the lobbies, in the rooms that are allowed for the bowl committee, the bowl group to go to. And so anyway, yeah, everyone stayed up pretty late rehashing everything, which may be the whole season. What's it going to be like next year? What about the game? It just goes on and on and on. So you can imagine how much fun it is. I don't know if I can run over to that Nate Bukaty museum or not, but it's Disney and Nate Bukaty, Florida. That's what I think about when I get down here to Orlando.
I didn't get to go to Orlando any this year, but I did. I spent a lot of time at Fort Lauderdale, so that's where you might find some commemorative things
close by.
Yeah,
they're just that's how big a deal it is. Yeah. Nate Bukaty's made it all the way to Orlando.
Yeah,
coming to visit soon.
I know what you're talking about when it comes to the fun when you finally get to have the fun after the work is done. And I appreciate you getting up early, honestly, to talk with us this morning. Do you guys fly home early, or does everybody get to kind of relax a little bit before they head back? Or does everybody even head home separately for the holidays after this?
Well, the players are given the opportunity to fly wherever they want to. So if they have a home someplace else that's not convenient to go to Manhattan first, they will go on commercial flights and get out of here. But the big group, no, we don't take off too early, except for if you stay up almost all night. It kind of seems early. Hey, get up, get some breakfast, and get on the buses. But basically on a Central Time basis, around 9 or 9:30 Central Time, K-State will be loading up on two different groups, two different plane flights. We'll head it back to Manhattan and land at 1 and 2 o'clock or something like that. So it seems like you're getting up fairly early, but the reality is no. We got plenty of time to enjoy last night, get up, get packed, eat some breakfast, and get back. It works out really, really well. No one leaves too early after a bowl game because these are charter flights. So there's no, hey, let's leave at 6 in the morning or anything like that. So it's a nice time. We're Eastern time. We're probably leaving at 10:30, 11 o'clock, whatever it is, and heading back home.
Well, and that's nice because you're not having to get ready for the next game and all that, so you don't have to rush as much either. We've got Stan Weber with us. Okay, we heard those comments from Chris Kleiman and also another soundbite from him in the show Open where he referenced the same type of thing of the things that K-State's been through over the last few weeks. Every one of these bowl games we're watching with different things that maybe the motivation for the team might be a little different from one team to the next or the storylines of the team. And clearly, listening to Coach Kleiman afterwards, that was a big theme for why this was an important game for K-State. They'd been through a lot. This is a chance to finish on a positive note, send some guys out on a positive note, but also for the future of the program. Could you put into context maybe how and why that was such a big win for K-State last night?
We're in a changed environment so much with the transfer portal having a window that you can say you want to be a part of the transfer portal basically right at the beginning of December and through January 3rd. So you can say, I want to leave this school, and it makes you eligible in a very official way, website, et cetera, to let everybody know you're a free agent. And you can go, but like Lane Kiffin has talked about with Mississippi, he's like, can you imagine the NFL playoffs starting and then have free agency so the players, if they want to leave, have to leave right now and leave their team before they play a playoff game because they got to get on with their future? Well, that's happening. And then you quickly point out it's fair for the players if it's fair for the coaches because the coaches are rolling into their next job. So it's the whole thing that you got to put up with. It's a new environment. You're constantly recruiting your own players right now. So what's so unusual is the coaches are trying to – and there's a new signing period, right, in December. It's not just February. So they're signing classes right now and talking to kids and trying to keep them committed. And a lot of times the kids are wanting to talk about money, not just everything else about your school. So the coaches are out recruiting while the players are supposed to be getting ready for a bowl game. The players are talking to everybody in the world, and other teams are calling them, trying to see if they'd be interested in coming. And all this is going on while the coaches are out on the road. So K-State's Chris Kleiman, like everyone else, is going, I need to talk to my players, but I need to be out on the road. I need to sign the new recruits. I've got to check the transfer portal for guys possibly coming in. And then Colin Klein, his offensive coordinator, is not going to be there. So Connor Riley is going to be calling plays. You need to gear him up and get him ready. And then you have all these guys that transfer out. You know, K-State had a number of players transfer out or decide not to play in the game. Ben Sennett wants to be a pro. Phillip Brooks wants to be a pro. Those two guys, your two leading receivers, they choose to opt out and not play in the ball game. Your starting quarterback isn't playing, and now you got a freshman that you say, we know he's good. We know he's ready to roll. He's kind of interchangeable. K-State's players all thought, the coaches all thought, it didn't matter if it's Will Howard or Avery Johnson. He played in 7 games before he played, but still, for him to have the whole role and have to play with basically no backups who are ready to roll, how are you going to get him ready? So there's just so many things tearing at the time that Chris Kleiman and the coaches are trying to put together, and I think that's where you get the emotion of it. And then you say, wow, we need to recruit our own players. And there's no guarantee that there's any perfect way to recruit any one player or anybody on your team or even a group of players. But the best way, guys, is to have the kind of love and enjoyment for all the hard work and the appreciation for what hard work can lead to after the game yesterday. Talk about the best recruiting tool to talk to all the players who are part of K-State's program, because every one of them could still decide through January 3rd, hey, I think I want to transfer someplace else. And you know this is a constant thing throughout their whole career. They could be freshmen and watching what's going on with the upperclassmen, and they may not be starters yet, but they're about ready to be starters. And how are they going to handle things? Winning is the thing that is the best potion for football teams that there is, okay? I always talk about momentum early in the season. You can't have a great season without having good things happen. You know, we'll talk about Missouri in a little bit. When they beat K-State, look how that launched them into a top 10 football team. If they would have lost to K-State, it would have been a whole different scenario, as you know. So the best recruitment that K-State could have is say, look at how we feel playing on this stage against a very good North Carolina State team. Look how much fun that was. And then you get to honor people who I think, rather than talking about opt-outs and what that story is, I love to just put unbelievable extra bonus love onto a guy like Cooper Beebe. Cooper Beebe is the best player on K-State's team, okay? Last year, he had played his 3rd year of college football. He could have went to the NFL draft, and he decided to come back. And then he got here and was AP, first-team All-American, consensus All-American, Big 12 lineman of the year for the 2nd year in a row. Guess what he chose to do? Play. He chose to play the whole game. That's where these coaches want to show the focus and go, that's the kind of leader we want. Look how much fun Cooper's having. I saw him after the game with all of his friends. That dude had the biggest smile in the world. He was so happy to play. That emotion was around the program, around the hotel, in the locker room. And so it meant so much for guys like that to step out and play and not get ready for the NFL. And it's just the best thing ever to have that glue to say, guys, see what we can do together. see how great K-State football can be. And obviously it starts with Avery. Avery Johnson is just an incredible player, highly recruited out of the state of Kansas, comes in and plays. And he and everyone around, you want to say, how much fun is it to play together? How much should you believe in Jace Brown, a freshman wide receiver? How much should you believe in Avery Johnson, a freshman quarterback? How much should you believe in Garrett Oakley, a freshman tight end? That's the kind of thing that he's talking about. Like, we want those guys to not look outwardly to say what else is out there, but say this is special, this is unique, this is big time. And that's the thing that he's talking about in the game. It's all the difference in the world than coming back to the hotel and going, well, we put a good effort in, and we worked hard, and we'll be fine. I'll meet you back in a couple of weeks. Have a good little vacation. That's not the message you want. There's a lot at risk right now in these situations. And so you hear Chris Kleiman telling you this is big. This is big for K-State football's future and the glue that connects K-State together in a unique way.
The Kansas City, Kansas Police Department, an organization with whom I spent a lot of time as a youth, and you could take that however you want. My dad worked for them. They tweeted out last night, for the next 24 hours, our officers will be substituting Pop-Tarts for our usual donuts in honor of KCK's own All-American number 50, Cooper Beebe, and the K-State Wildcats bowl win tonight. So I thought that was great. See a Kansas City, Kansas guy. I love anybody that can represent the dot and do it at an incredible level. And like you said, Stan, should be celebrated. As we've said, it's hard to blame guys for making decisions that are best for them, if that's what they think is the case. But certainly a lot of credit goes to the guys that decide to stay and play like Cooper Beebe did. Great story. We'll talk more with Stan Weber right after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
we're going to see a glimpse of 2024. We did indeed tonight.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Along with the guy he threw the finishing touchdown to.
And no doubt, Jace really good. And we have DJ. DJ Giddens is a pretty good player, too. And the fact that we got a lot of guys on defense back from that group. And fun to watch. We needed this to catapult us into 24. Can I go celebrate now?
Go celebrate, Coach.
Our buddy Matt Walters interviewing Chris Kleiman after the Pop-Tarts Bowl victory for K-State, celebrating after that victory. And Stan, we got Stan Weber on the phone from Orlando, Florida. One last thing I'd love to ask you about, you touched on it a little bit, but every K-State fan I heard from going into this was like, hey, man, I'm excited to get a chance to watch Avery Johnson play. That was the biggest storyline that I heard from any K-State fans I knew. What we all are excited about his talent, but you want to see, like as Gary Pinkel always says, you don't know what you got till you put him in hot water. We've seen him a little bit this year, but to see him, this is his team now, and he goes out and he wins the MVP. What impressed you the most about his performance last night?
His composure, playing the game that was presented before him and taking advantage of the opportunities he was given without forcing anything and making any mistakes. North Carolina State is a football team that lives off people making mistakes. Your guy, Dave Doran, Bishop Miege high school grad, has been 11 years coach at North Carolina State. They've got an NC State record, 4 straight years of 8 straight wins or more. They have a plus 10 turnover margin. And if you go back the last 5 years, North Carolina State is 20-1 if they win the turnover margin battle in a game. So that is the way they want to get things done. Play defense, get turnovers, and then let their offense work around it. So that's North Carolina State's strategy, and you got a young quarterback in there who could do positive things, but what happens if he made mistakes and gave NC State the extra opportunities to win the ball game, and he didn't. He played the game a lot like Lamar Jackson's playing the game for the Baltimore Ravens right now, in that he is the fastest player on the field. So anytime he hit the Jets and wanted to run, he could outrun people. But he's not the biggest and strongest guy. There was really no backup quarterback available. They told him you got to be very careful, so he didn't want to take hits. So what he did is stand in the pocket, throw the ball. If it wasn't there, he scrambled around. It was impossible to sack. The offensive linemen, they're sixth-year guys. They're all graduating, the vast majority of them. And they were laughing after the game going, next year's team may not give up a sack all year because they can't catch that dude. So it's fun to see the offensive linemen, the veterans, talking about him. But he keeps his head up. He's looking to throw the football. Once in a while, he'll make a straight-line run. And I think the thing that you saw is that composure, that leadership, the understanding, talking after the game with the coaches and stuff. He really executed the game plan very, very well. But I think the thing that maybe you could learn from him that was really cool is how strong his arm is. The velocity on his passes is above what normal college quarterbacks are throwing at. Okay, and that's a lot said because college quarterbacks throw the ball well. Velocity is not a problem in college football right now. You don't have a lot of weak-armed quarterbacks, Nate. They got good, strong arms, but yet his ball was going faster than most others. So it even surprised the receivers a little bit. They dropped some balls they could have caught early in the game, but he didn't let that affect him. So a very strong-arm quarterback, very mature understanding of what he needs to do, great composure, great speed and decision-making. So, yeah, the hype that you get from recruiting is something that I don't spend a lot of time worrying about because I think you got to show it on the field against big-time college players. You got to show it in the locker room and in practice and on campus and away from your parents and all those things. I wait to see when they come on campus and what they're like. For instance, as an example on the other side, no one told me Deuce Vaughn was going to be a superstar when he signed, okay? So I don't worry about what the recruiting services say. But I'll say forget the hype of the recruiting, just what he does and what he's done. He's a superstar, and that's what's really cool is he has shown every attribute of what a superstar needs to be. And the number one thing is he wants more. He's humble. He loves his teammates. There's just not one bad thing on 100 list of things that you could give me as criteria that's important to you about your quarterback. Every one of them I'd be thumbs up or double thumbs up on every one of them for what he did since he's been on campus at K-State.
So a great win for K-State. You could certainly see it. And you're right. I mean, even the first drive of the game, he has a drop on a heck of a play that he makes rolling to his right. And I was, there's some zip on that ball. We're visiting with Stan Weber. Before we run out of time, I'd like this hour. We got you another half hour, but I want to talk some NFL at that point. So I'd love to get your thoughts on Missouri versus Ohio State tonight. What are the things you're watching for most in this game?
Well, the first thing I want to say is there has been an opportunity to set a narrative for people who aren't Missouri fans to go, oh, if they win, it's not the real Ohio State. Oh, they're not motivated. Their quarterback's not playing. They have guys opting out and those kind of things, and try to diminish what the battle is to play an Ohio State football team. And I don't want anyone to buy into that, because guess what the backups are at Ohio State? Future superstars that you just don't know about yet, okay? Marvin Harrison Jr. is obviously a superstar receiver, best in the country right now for Ohio State. You know all about him, but when he walked on campus his freshman year, he was on his way to being this guy. They have tons. It's an NFL shop there, and they are excited to play. So this is a real Ohio State football team. And you don't think Coach Day has urgency in wanting to win? He's on the hot seat because he lost to Michigan a couple years. You know, you do not want to lose 2 games and lose to Missouri. So I just want to set the narrative, even before Ohio State players supposedly are looking and saying they probably are going to play. I don't care who plays for Ohio State. This is big time. This is big-time football. The Cotton Bowl is the best bowl. The fans, when Steven gets back, he's going to tell you it's the greatest experience ever, from the stadium to the drivability of the fans. But behind the scenes, everybody at the Cotton Bowl does 10 times better than almost any bowl in the country, how you're treated and how it feels big time. So this is big-time football against Ohio State. So much to gain for Missouri to put another win up there and beat a team like that to finish in the top 10. But I think that it's going to be a heck of a challenge, because I think Ohio State's going to be ready to play. Missouri's connected. They're good. And what Missouri has done is proven that where are you going to attack their weakest link? Nate, what do you think is the worst part of Missouri's football team?
Boy, I don't know.
There you go. You're right.
Nice. I got one right. Yeah, like
I'm telling you, K-State's, K-State coaches, I was talking to them, and they said, you're comparing North Carolina State's defense, which is really, really good, and saying, where does it fit in? And they're going, well, probably Missouri's been as hard to beat as anybody on defense this year. And then you look at what the quarterback play is, the wide receiver play, Schrader's running. Missouri just doesn't have a weakness, and that makes them hard to beat. So it's a big-time game. I think it's going to be very, very even. I think Ohio State's going to be hard to beat. The crowd's going to help Mizzou. But this could be a big-time win and nothing to be embarrassed about if Ohio State wins.
All right, Stan, we've got much more with you coming up in the next hour. We're going to talk some NFL. We haven't even touched on the NFL yet with Stan. It's a great time of year. Boy, it's fun. We'll be back with Stan after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB.